episode is brought to you by Samsung.
Celebrated year after year, like exploring miles of handmade art and local crafts at Florida's Cranberry Festival. We're gathering round for a freshwater fish boil at the Sister Bay Fall Fest. And here's to indulging in sweet, tart, and every flavor in between at Bayfield Apple Festival. And to rich Wisconsin roots, brewed to Oktoberfest perfection in La Crosse. Find fall events at travelwisconsin.com.
This episode is brought to you by Samsung. Unfold the all-new Galaxy Z Fold 4 and expand your world. With Flex Mode, it stands on its own, so your hands free to get more done during calls.
I'm live doing DFS. I'm trying to fucking make some lines quick before noon.
Plus, the edge-to-edge screen allows you to fully
Okay.
immerse yourself in your favorite games and shows. Visit Samsung.com to learn more about Galaxy Z Fold 4.
The DFS studio is brought to you by DraftKings. Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers DFS podcast with your hosts, Kyle Morganoni and Matthew Betts.
Well, hello. It's Friday, September 16th, week 2. We're back, people. It's the Fantasy Footballers DFS podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Morganoni, and I'm joined, as always, by Matthew, ready to get hurt by Mike Williams. Betts.
I mean, I might already be hurt. We can listen to this on Friday. We're recording this on Thursday, and I just can't quit Mike Williams, the captain on Showdown, after 2 years ago won me a ton of money. So, listeners, check in with me if Mike Williams has a dud. I am not in a great place. If it goes off for 122, might be retired after this weekend.
Yeah, no, I think that's the best way to do a life check on Betts is to ask him on Friday or Saturday, how you doing, bro? And if you don't get a response, it's because this man is already on his way to Cozumel. He's somewhere, like, just on a beach, sipping on a Mai Tai, feeling good, or you could just be changing tires.
Yeah, probably that. Let's go.
It's probably just that. We got a great slate. It's interesting because I think this actually works to our expertise. You know, week 1, there's so much we don't know. There's a little bit more of what we know about teams, their tendencies, but there's also one fewer game this week where we get to take advantage of that for cash purposes and for GPP. So on the show, we will talk about the games we want to stack. We will hop in the mailbag, talk about some props. We've got a lot of things going here, but I wanted to start off before we talk about our cash picks from a listener named Bonnie B. I mean, this story warmed my heart.
It was great.
It really was, in the sense of, this is what Bonnie did. She talked to us on Twitter, we passed this around. She said, I impulse signed up for the DFS Pass. I know none of us make impulse purchases, but DFS Pass is definitely a great one. She said, I made an impulse purchase of buying the DFS Pass on Sunday because their podcast advice is always spot on. And needless to say, it paid for itself already. So, I mean, what a great correlation here. You buy the DFS Pass. It works out. It pays for itself, and then you just keep on winning money. So this is the kind of stuff we love, right?
I mean, I wish everything in life was that easy. I mean, we're making it that easy for you that these products pay for themselves. And I think in the long run, our company actually loses money when you buy the DFS Pass. I'm pretty sure that's how it works, based off the content and the price that it should be. So yeah, shout out to Bonnie. She had a great week. Also posted a couple of screenshots of the winning lineups. Which shout out to her. That was awesome. And hopefully listeners also had a great week 1. But dude, I mean, DFS Pass, I feel like week 1 was kind of there's some layup plays in there, I feel like. Week 2, I love these slates. These are the hard slates to figure out. There's no plug and play Josh Allen. Just play Pat Mahomes stacks. Just play Justin Herbert stacks. Like, this is where we have to really, I think, figure it out. And I feel like in general, public players that are not as skilled or don't know kind of as much as you, the listener, are behind the 8 ball. So I think this is a great slate. I'm pretty excited for it.
You can do a life check on me because last year, week 2, I remember I had my worst week of DFS possible. Remember that?
I remember your text, man. You were so sad.
It was dark times after having a great week 1. So, yes, our cash lineups, I think over time people get to build their bankroll and get to have fun. So let's talk about those cash plays.
Straight cash, homie.
This week, I differing a little bit more than we did last week. Is that your feel so far?
There's a couple obvious plays, but I think in general, like last week, we felt pretty confident in this. We almost got the same lineup, honestly. That, yeah, this week I think there's going to be a couple that we just differentiate a little bit.
So, at quarterbacks, we'll give a couple of plays that for cash we really like. We'll give some FanDuel caveats, but first for DraftKings, at quarterback, I'm only actually considering 2 plays right now. It's Trey Lance at 5.7 or Derek Carr at 5.9. Where do you lean?
We agree on this one. Those are the 2 that I have that I like the most. I also included just kind of, we're going to talk about the game with the Ravens, but, you know, just look at the slate, right? There's no elite separators in the position. So if you just want a guy that can separate, I think Lamar's your guy. Now, on this slate, the savings that you get from going down to Lamar, I should say, to Derek Carr at 6.2K and Trey Lance at 5.7K is massive, and it goes a long way in paying up for running back wide receiver. So my lean right now is to play one of these 2 guys. I think this pains me because I love Trey Lance. I think my lean is if I have the extra, few $100 to get up to Derek Carr, I'm going to play him because of the fact that they're in the highest total. He has all of his weapons. We'll talk about Devontae Adams and the matchup we love. We just picked on the Arizona Cardinals last week. We're going to keep doing it all year. My issue with Trey Lance is not that I don't think he can be good. It's just that, last year we saw Debo get used out of the backfield. I think with Elijah Mitchell out, there's a good chance we see more of that. So more rush attempts go away from Lance to Jeff Wilson and whoever else in Debo. And there's probably no George Kittle again. So his weapons aren't as strong as they could be. Now, that said, if you need the savings, I am totally fine with them.
Those quarterbacks, I think, are going to make for interesting GPP conversations. We'll talk about that game. But with Lance, it's also interesting because Jeff Wilson is going to be one of the more popular QBs that people put in their lineups at 5.1. I don't even mind if you want to shoot for Lance and you say he has one of those games where he runs for 70 yards and score, throws for 1 or 2. Like, I think it's totally fine to put Lance in GPPs as well. But I agree. I think Carr has a safer passing floor at home. Like, he's averaged 294 passing yards per game. So there's just a lot to like there. Right now I have Lance just for the savings, but I'm gonna do one of those. And then in FanDuel, I wrote this up, but I have Lamar just locked in. Love the game. We'll talk about that in just a second. At running back,
I do not have any money.
I currently have projected Darrell Henderson as one of the most popular plays in the week, especially on FanDuel. And I can't imagine this week building a lineup without him personally on either side. Like at 6,200 on FanDuel, I think he's a lock on FanDuel. I think you have to have him in the lineup. DraftKings is a different conversation, but his usage was elite this past week. Saw 81% of the carries, 100% of the running back targets, and it's the Falcons. So I think he's just really safe.
Yeah, I think he's the free square this weekend. And I even put in the DFS pass
What
over
the
and just
fuck?
said, I think this week there's more of a chance that we could see a little bit more Cam Akers, but that's only because Kyron Williams has ankle sprains on IR. I think they'll have to play a little bit of Cam Akers. But if you look at the quotes from Sean McVay, I think it's very clear it's Darrell Henderson's job right now. So yeah, 5.7K, that's a misprice to me. If you're not playing him in cash, I think that's a mistake.
There's a tier of running backs in that 5K range that it's really easy to build a lineup this week because of how much we like the wide receivers. Spoiler alert, Devontae Adams is locked in both of our lineups no matter what this week. But there's some running backs in that 5K range. Darrell Henderson, 5.7. Chase Edmonds at 5.2. I mentioned Jeff Wilson. And then if DeAndre Swift is out, he didn't practice today, do you like Jamal Williams at 5.1 at home against the Commanders?
I mean, this will only be if Swift is out, but if that is the case, yeah, I mean, this is kind of what we live for. And DFS is the cheap free running back that's going to get a ton of work. And not only did he get work, as a split with Swift last week, but it was all the goal line work. So now we can project him in that scenario for goal line, probably some receiving work, and 15 plus touches in that game. And last week, if you look at the Washington game,
I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know. Who did they play the first week, man?
It's got a decent total on the slate. So,
Jacksonville.
This is only if Swift is out, which he has said he's playing. We'll see what happens on Friday.
Still don't know.
But yes, in that scenario, I think he's definitely a strong player.
Williams has done pretty well whenever he's had those starts. I remember a couple years ago with the Packers, you and I were like, you have to play Jamal Williams when Aaron Rodgers is out. So that's kind of that tier. I think a lot of people will build their lineups with maybe 2 of those and then pay up for 1. Running back. So who are the elite guys this week that you're paying attention to? I know Saquon went off for you last week. Are you back on board?
Never a doubt, baby. We're back. Yeah, we're back with Saquon. He is a little more expensive, of course, than last week. But when you look at what predicts the most success in fantasy at running backs, it is volume and opportunity. And he played the most.
All right, that's my first line. I don't think it's that good, but
highest. He's going to get somewhere around 20 opportunities. And at that price point, you should argue maybe he should be higher. And the matchup here, Carolina, is not scary, especially because you look at what happened last week with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt just going bonkers against this Carolina defense. So I think it all sets up again for Saquon. I mean, it looks like, again, the same issues for the Giants as there were last week, where the wide receivers just aren't projecting well. Like, Kenny Galladay looks like not himself. And then you have Darius Toney playing with the third-team offense in practice today. You're going to have Wanda Robinson on the injury report. We don't know if he's playing. It all just points back to Saquon. So I think if you're looking to spend up kind of in that 7K range, he's my favorite play.
Last week, the Panthers were destroyed by Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb on the ground. So I will put one hole in the Giants, okay? Because they're getting a lot of love, right? A lot of love for what Brian Dable did. Saquon had a great game. I can't take anything away from that. The offense as a whole was super inefficient. They had 2 third-down conversions. That was time with the Jets for the fewest. So it's a miracle they won that game, considering what they did, or what Daniel Jones did, how many times he got sacked, 5 times. Like, this offense will be inefficient. Let it be known, they were super inefficient last week outside of that long Saquon run. He did obviously have a ton of pass catching. So that's what we like in cash. But I want to say for GPP, he's going to get steamed up because of what he did last week. To me, that says I'm going to be underweight in GPP. Does that make sense?
Yeah, he's going to be the most rostered, I think, running back on the slate as of now. I mean, assuming we don't get like a freebie of injury or something like that. As it stands right now, he's going to be 20+%, no doubt, probably up to 25%.
Joe Mixon, I think, is a really easy play on FanDuel. Is 8,300. Saw a career high 36 opportunities. I also like Javonte Williams on FanDuel. If you think Denver's going to run away with it as like a 10-point home favorite, I don't think you can copy and paste 12 targets from last week because they were in hurry up mode. But I think that Javonte Williams, on FanDuel, on the touchdown side, I think he can get a lot there. Play Jonathan Taylor in cash if you want to on FanDuel. Like, he's at 10K, but his usage was elite last week, especially in the passing game. Like, he participated in 61% of the routes. So just want to make sure I mentioned Jonathan Taylor. And then, is there any other name that you want to throw out for running backs?
I also have on the list here Uncle Len. Uncle Len, we go back, man. We had a relationship. We're on and off again. I'm back in with Uncle Len. But I will say, I feel like there's inherent risk with Leonard Fournette this week for the Bucs. I mean, the issues for the team entering week 1 was just like, Brady's down his interior offensive lineman, their left tackle injures his elbow. We're not sure if he's going to play. Chris Godwin's out and all those sort of things. The entire skill position group is banged up. So we need to kind of figure out what's happening there. But if, obviously there's no Godwin, I think he's going to be the focal point of the offense. It could be very inefficient. We generally think the Saints are a good defense, but 31-year-old Cordero Patterson last week ran all over him for 5 a carry. So maybe they're not, And I think, again, you look at cash games, like a price point in touches, and I think his price point at 6.7K with projected 20-ish touches, it makes sense in cash. I think you can definitely put holes for GPPs, but if you're just looking for safety, I think it's there for Len this week.
Early in the week, I liked the Buccaneers. I like Brady. He won 6,400 on DraftKings. I think that's a pretty low price for what we're used to with Brady. But the news is not trended well at all for the Bucs all week long. I know today we're looking at practice reports. Julio, Russell Gage, Mike Evans, who knows. Fournette was back at practice, but that's a game that it's pretty easy for me to look at and say, I can just fade the game, and I think I'll be fine. I think I like the winner already. So, Julio, speaking of wide receivers, he's an option for me if he's healthy. On FanDuel, he's only 5,700. His participation last week was great. In his first week, I thought they were going to ease him in more, but man, he was being used on downfield routes everywhere, way more than I thought. And I looked up this stat from Sam Hoppen, my boy, from 4 for 4. Tom Brady's 48-yard pass to Julio Jones was the longest completion by air distance since he joined the Buccaneers. So, that's Tom Brady's game. He's not trying to chuck it 50 yards anymore, but it is cool to see that with Julio Jones, who's one of my favorite players. But give us the cash lock of the week for the Ravens.
Yeah, there's no way, in my opinion, you can make a cash team and not have Devontae Adams in there. It just, mean, you have everything working for you in the highest total on the slate. You know, the Raiders are up there in team total. I think we're just behind the Rams for the highest in the slate. And you look at last week, like Pat Mahomes just carved him up for over 305 touchdowns. And no, Derek Carr isn't Patrick Mahomes, but Devontae Adams is one of the best receivers, if not the best receiver. The Cardinals cornerbacks are going to face this year, and they're down a couple guys in the secondary due to injury. So you have that all going for you, and then the most important metric right now, popping in a new model that I have, Kyle, is when your family comes to watch you play, which Devontae Adams, when on social media, his grandma is coming to the game, which is going to be the first time his grandparents have seen him play in person as a pro. So you got Granny out in Vegas, playing the slots, watching her boy Devontae. I can't make a lineup without him.
Yeah, the granny model is pumping, and I don't know if I've ever said that, nor will I ever say that phrase again. But grandmothers just people play better.
You can't let her down. You can't.
I agree. Let's go for some cheaper options this week. I mean, Cooper Kupp's always going to be somebody that you can throw in your lineup. Allen Robinson at 5,700 on FanDuel is just staring me in the face. I love being the kind of person who says, "Oh, I'll play him in cash this week." Can you do it?
If you're playing cash on FanDuel, I think it makes a lot of sense. I was expecting him to be popular on DraftKings, and I was kind of looking around the industry and looking at our stuff that we have projected. I'm seeing below 10%, and that to me screams GPP play. Like, team has a huge total. We'll talk about that game. And so people are going to be off of it. Like, sure, I'll play it in GPPs, but I don't think you have to go there in cash. There's other guys right around him in price points that we'll talk about that I like a lot. So A-Rob is fine for GPPs on DraftKings for me, not in my cash pool this week.
I need to give you some DAP here because I hear you talk about this stuff all the time. Like, all the time. Every single day. And you send out a tweet where you just say, here's his routes run, here's his snaps, here's his targets. And you said he had a very solid night of cardio. I may have heard you say that 200 times in our friendship. And you say it one time on Twitter and it pops off. Is that the most popular tweet you've ever had in your life?
I think so. I got like 15,000 likes or something like that. It was wild. I wasn't even trying to be that funny. Like, it was just kind of a bit that I usually do, and like, you know, I say it on the show and stuff. But what I say it about is people out there, wide receivers, running routes, playing a high snap share, and they just don't get the ball. Like Mike Williams in week 1, great night of cardio, just running around out there with Keenan Allen off the field. But yeah, A-Rob on Thursday night, dude, he must have got a lot of steps. Play at least 10,000.
That's the Chris Conley, DeMarcus Robinson model.
Yes.
Just you're out there. Chris Conley started for like 4 different teams the last like 5 years. Like, why is that dude still in the league? But yes, he's got some good cardio. University is looking shy. So Allen Robinson, I think he's interesting. And in that same game, Drake London's also interesting. He's in cheapy on FanDuel at 5,600. So he saw 7 targets. It's kind of a big deal for a rookie wide receiver. 21% target share. So that's more of the cheapies. But Christian Kirk is the safest if you just want to go that route. I think he's great on both sites. Do we have to think of him as like a top 20, top 24 receiver the rest of the way?
I mean, it's probably too early to declare that right now, but based off his usage in week 1, he should be.
Hey Jana, what do you love about working at Culver's?
The flexible app.
Please don't do me, bro.
It's the poop nerd.
It's just the name to say those words.
No.
That's all I need.
Welcome everybody to this Flowcast here at RunAround.com. It's week 2 of our Legalization season. But we're back and we're burying people just like we do every year. Davis, I know you you have quite a few people that you'll be burying this season.
Really, just one. I mean, just my biggest fade got 31 touches and 8 PPR points in week 1. So I'm calling an ambulance, but not for me right now.
Okay, Pete, what about you?
Oh, I mean, I got absolutely buried and dusted in week 1. I mean, just the slappies, the chalk dogs, getting it that hard right out of the gate.
Pittman and Barkley ruining tournaments in week 1 was so not fun.
Just the Pittman guys, too, there at the end. They're the worst.
So you might be on mute, but I think you are also in the Pittman getting there camp.
Yeah, I actually had a pretty decent first week, but the
Damian Pierce was my big miss, and now Lovey's out here talking him up again. And I know I'm gonna fall for it.
Well, the most confusing thing about Pierce was he actually was not lying about starting him. That was the bizarre thing was that he did actually start and was getting the carries, and then Rex came in.
My hand in the dirt take without actually watching the video is he fucked up some like blitz coverage or something.
Yeah, it's gotta be it. Yeah.
And then they just opened up the tried and true veteran Rex Burkhead the rest of the way.
But wasn't the thesis supposed to be with, like, you thought Burkhead would be on in negative game scripts or whatever, and Damian Pierce, they'd let him salt the clock away in garbage time, and they're like, nope, Rex Burkhead's our finisher.
Yeah, that game was brutal. I actually did cash both DraftKings and FanDuel, my cash game lineup, and it just all it took was a.
We need to make this clear. Week 1 has got to just be so soft because my team was not good. My DraftKings cash game team was not good.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
it's got to be real soft. Like I played Randall Cobb and got there.
Yeah, buddy, but I don't even know about that. But if you had like Saquon and Jefferson and like one other guy that went off.
If you just had Saquon and Pittman, you were good pretty much.
That actually reminds me, Davis, I didn't see you and Silva jerking each other off over Sammy Watkins on Twitter on Monday. I mean,
Hey, look, sometimes you gotta hold an L. Sometimes your L is the 8th highest drafted player in all of fantasy football. Sometimes it's an 18th round pick. Who's to say whiffing on which of those hurts more? But Sammy Watkins getting cut for Devin Duvernay and Curtis Samuel on a lot of main event teams this week.
Davis, you want to get something off your chest right now because you've already alluded to it twice.
Oh, no! I thought maybe it'd be more fun coming from you.
You want me to bury Derrick Henry?
I mean, it's just like they start losing a home game to a really bad Giants team.
Let me go ahead and set the table. I was very frustrated. I was more frustrated with that game than the Bengals game, just because the play calling was so outrageous. Gotta break some Burkhead.
Totally dropped there, so
5 minutes after the comment. He's on his game.
We'll get there. But just like the Titans will hopefully get there. The Titans, they ran the ball on first down every play until the fourth quarter. Derrick Henry, 18 of his carries were on first down plays. Like they were the most predictable offense, and then I guess they were just trying to salt it away. I don't know. It felt like a brain dead type operation there. But Nick Phillips, Kyle Phillips, not Nick.
Oh wow, Nick Phillips. That's a Freudian slip.
Yeah.
Nick Phillips, Akine, right
Nick
there.
Phillips,
and Robert Woods combining for 4 targets. We're not going to talk too much about Titans because they play, of course, on the Monday night slate. We only talk about the main slate on this, but yeah, there were some big misses and some
pretty
people
annoying for the Chiefs to not be on the main slate after that week, to be honest. Because I think we would have gotten like $8,200 Patrick Mahomes, and I think people wouldn't have played him.
Would you jam in Sky Moore if he wasn't on the main slate?
No, but Juju is if any team can hang with Kansas City this year, Juju is looking like just lock in 9 catches for that guy in any game where it's close.
So who are you like the most down on all your rosters things?
Well, Watkins, he's like literally not going to contribute.
Yeah, but we all knew that. Like everyone knew that you were going to be down.
Oh no, Tony is the one where it's like you just got owned. Although I did notice he had like 33 yards on his 2 touches on 7 snaps, which meant that he was 4th on the team in yards from scrimmage on 7 snaps.
Well, it's the head case thing. Like
which we all knew. He got ejected from his breakout game.
Yeah, so he's over there like pacing on the sideline whenever the team's in their huddle because he's not getting playing time, you're not getting snaps. So that was rough. Peter, what about your bags as far as?
Yeah, well, one big zero though not quite as bad as Darius Toney because he's still out there running a ton of snaps with Devonta Smith. I feel like we have him on every other.
No. No, don't let that go. That's not gonna be one that you look back on and you're like, wow, I can't believe I drafted all this guy. It just happens.
Are you not going to mention Trey Lance, Davis? Or do you think he's fine?
Oh, I thought I've just already publicly taken that, but it's also kind of funny to take that L because he's going to be everyone's cash game quarterback this week. So maybe
I'm not letting you take that. You can't, as part of the Trey Lance fan club, you can't rush out and take the L before we all collectively decide to take the L together. I'm not waving the white flag on Lance.
Oh, buy for
conditions that really got him.
Vinefor's been doing this too. I don't know if you saw his tweet this morning. Vinefor's been like how people they talk about people quiet quitting. He's been quiet quitting Trey Lance. But I mean, this is the deal with Lance. He played about as bad of a game as you can imagine. His team lost as a 6-point favorite. It was horrible. And he got 13 fantasy points because that's the whole thesis behind the play. It's just that if they start 0-2, Jimmy is coming. If they lose this game, Jimmy is coming. I'm capitulating.
No, don't capitulate. His floor is going to be Marcus Mariota in regular weather games.
Well, I mean,
Mariota wasn't terrible week 1.
Yeah. He had the second most rushing attempts at quarterback, I believe, behind Jalen Hurts.
Unfortunately, the players.
Don't they play the Rams?
No, they play the Seahawks.
Oh no, Lance.
Terrible.
Lance is a cash game lock. He'll be 55% owned at the $50 up or whatever.
That's so unfair. Like
He's not a cash game block.
Are supposed to be able to get to play like super low on Lance, and then they do this with the pricing. Why the cash game grinders don't get to get Trey Lance?
Blender, you don't get to play. You don't get the Trey Lance points. It doesn't count for you. You have to play Derek Carr.
Well, this is that. I mean, Derek Carr might be in play for some cash game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
he's the guy
believe
dropping the most in league.
I believe he was Cardi's cash game quarterback last week.
So,
But
yeah,
David,
like,
I inconvenienced myself and brought up my singular underdog team to answer your legs question, so I really like to answer this before we move on. CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb.
Oh, it's no one's fault. Like it's the Goodwill Hunting. It's not your fault. But like anyone who is taking Lamb you're like if you have a huge Lamb position, you're dead. You're dead.
No, but Davis, I'm not letting you wiggle out of this one because on multiple shows we did, I floated the CeeDee Lamb just might not be good. The Dak bails you out from that again in the short term because I'm telling you, Lamb was not looking good.
He looked awful. Did you see? I will say I had never entertained your position for a second until they threw a wide receiver screen to him on the second drive, and he literally looked like a guy who had just been introduced to the concept of catching a football on that play. Like I was like, maybe Pete was right. But, I mean, going down, it will be, I mean, I know for a fact if I go back and look at my team, they definitely took Lamb over Adams a minimum of 5 times, at least. And that is going to be one of the, and I mean, I made plenty of dumb decisions, but that's got to be one of the dumbest fancy plays. That's big time FPS.
He plays too much for us to tell him more.
I mean, he called a double wide receiver reverse on the first drive against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like, settle down, dude. Settle down.
Calm down. If you are watching right now, go ahead and hit that like button and also subscribe because, guys, we are one person away from being 6,000 away from our goal of 10.
Road to 10K.
Tuttle out there paving the way.
Paving the way. Tuttle, I'm not going to lie, we're going to need a little bit better terrible take than Mo Alley Fox this week.
The Mack truck.
My guy got banished to the shadow realm by Kyler Granson.
So, all right, let's go into the overs that over. We're talking a little bit about it, but Pete, hit up with your.
Yeah, I mean, from this slate, we're gonna have a ton of running backs that are going to be available to the point like Christian McCaffrey might be very low on
Like a tournament play. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're headed toward a Leonard Fournette chalk week at 6,700. So can't wait to have Fournette shove it down my throat when I don't.
I
play
disagree.
him. What do you mean you disagree?
I think you will actually end up playing him because I think he will end up fourth in that mix of Darrell Henderson, Joe Mixon, Saquon Barkley.
Is this
Davis-
how the overview supposed to
Yeah,
work?
Davis, can you let the overview be overset?
I mean, as someone who forgot again to plan for the overview, I do actually appreciate Davis's interjections that help give me a little more content, but it's also not how it's supposed to work.
It's still preseason for us. We're still fighting. Much like some of these offenses who didn't play in the preseason, we're still finding our way.
Are you any injuries that happen? San Francisco, anybody that might elevate people up into that?
I mean, I don't think Jeff Wilson's going to really be on the DFS radar. I think there's just going to be way too many other better plays. The T. Higgins stuff, I'm definitely monitoring. There isn't a bunch of stuff. There was a report that he was like smiling in the locker room and playing ping pong. So do with that what you will.
Oh, that's what we
Ping
want.
pong is
That is what we want right there.
Olivia Ray just tweeted 25 minutes ago. He was limited in practice today. Zach Taylor said he's progressing well in concussion protocol.
Yeah, him. If we get him at 5,900, he's going to be the Michael Pittman of this week that everyone's just jamming.
The Slappies, are they sophisticated enough to play T. Higgins?
The Slappies now are just slaves to projections. They don't live a little, Davis.
What a bummer. What a bummer. DFS.
I love how
is
Davis is definitely team level during the season.
DeAndre Swift is gonna be.
Yeah.
Point this week too.
Yeah, he is. Because he is 7,000, so he is more expensive than Henderson and Fournette.
He's not practicing, and they promoted Justin Jackson. So
Wow.
it's kind of like
You know it's
some
hard.
signs that he's actually hurt.
You know it was hard for a good old American man like Dan Campbell to promote a socialist like Justin Jackson to the regular roster. That had to hurt him.
Do you think he has like, what's his face, Jamal Williams, like doing like conversion therapy on him?
Did you guys watch the
Hard
Hard Knocks?
No. But apparently Jamal Williams is like the big star of Hard Knocks, right?
Yeah, and we knew that. He always was. He's a likable gentleman.
Wait, we just did a whole funeral segment and we didn't throw it to Dan for a home loss to the Minnesota Vikings? What?
They were dogs, right? I mean, they were.
They weren't supposed to be.
It's one. After all the lines.
But I mean, come on, it's supposed to be discount double check. It's supposed to be Rodgers making chicken salad out of chicken shit. Like, what happened, bro?
I mean, I wasn't high on the team in general. I like Aaron Jones, obviously.
Yeah, that's gonna be the one you have to take because you were. You said Aaron Jones was wide receiver 1 on his team. I drafted him in one of my leagues.
Yeah,
Probably still could be the correct take because I did not see a wide receiver 1 out there.
AJ Dillon, Ellie.
Bro.
No, but the so in our secret chat, I would say Wiggins pumping.
Yeah.
Aaron Jones is not.
Wiggins
Wiggins
was the lead bag pumper on Aaron Jones for sure.
Yeah. But that was not good.
Okay, as far as game totals, you guys know what the top game total is, right?
That's your Travis host.
Yeah.
Without looking,
That's
it's
your
3 points
first
better than the other matchup. It's Cardinals at the Raiders. So 51.5 team total. The next highest team total, this is where it gets fun. This is where the new season gets fun. Because this wouldn't have been the highest team total last year, second highest. It's Washington at the 12.
That's the game that the GPP bros are gonna be like, can't do Las Vegas, Arizona, so let's like, but that's where they're gonna level themselves. Like they're gonna turn the cards over, and Carson Wentz, Jahan Dotson is gonna be on like 8% of teams.
Curtis Samuel would be 34%.
And then we have the Falcons and the Rams, and then the Colts and the Jags, followed by here's some. I feel like these next 3 teams are interesting because I would have put them higher up, but Broncos and Texans, and then the Saints and Tampa Bay. They're like in the middle of the pack, and also Dolphins at Baltimore.
Saints Tampa Bay, if we had any assurances that the Buccaneers were interested in not taking field goals, could actually be real fun. But I think the Buccaneers are going to be on the Green Bay Packers plan, which is like, we don't care about anything. Our quarterback doesn't need to win MVP. Let's win 10 games and get to the Super Bowl. Like, they're going to play so many. That was my biggest takeaway from that Sunday night game was the Buccaneers. It's Fournette and Evans, and then with all these guys banged up, it's just going to be super boring.
Mike Evans is afraid of Marshawn Lattimore.
Oh, I forget.
This is the narrative, right?
But it's legit.
This is the one.
Evans locks him down, man.
Kitchen, how are you feeling about all these wide receivers who left the Titans just getting a massive blow up? I mean, AJ Brown finally out of that destitute offense. Julio Jones shining. I mean, can we get Kyle Phillips traded? Imagine what he could do with a quarterback other than Ryan Tannehill.
I will say that play to grow. I mean, AJ Brown and FanDuel Cash was enough to cash it. I will say, as a Titans fan,
was AJ Brown actually a FanDuel play, or was that a Soccer Dave artist play?
I think he was. I mean, he's an
artist, but it was great. It's the play we should. Soccer Dave is sharp now. That's the play we all should.
Thank you, Tuttle. Flip that, Sosa. Also, the Jahan Dodson take on last week's build lineup panned out pretty well.
Yeah, he was only on like 40% of people's rosters.
Why do you think that is, Davis?
Also 40% touchdown rate, right?
You know what? Normally, I do want to say normally a guy who scores 2 touchdowns would suck out. I don't actually think that's true. I think Jahan Dotson is a baller. I actually think he's
good too.
Yeah, I think he's just really good.
He won me some good money in college football.
I got my notification from DraftKings after the slate. I thought I won $0. $1 because of the Swolecast lineup we made. Cashed in some Frito-Lay's tournament. I was like, Jahan Dotson, Justin Jefferson. Sometimes you just play the best plays on a Wednesday, and that's your best line.
Bankroll builder, $1 at a time.
That's why you always leave it in one cash game. We'll build a lineup in a second. Talk about quarterbacks right now. Talk a little bit about some of the options. But other than Trey Lance, first of all, Tuttle, are you sold on Trey Lance being the cash game quarterback? It feels like the price is going to continue going low enough until people are like, okay, that's too low. But he could get benched at halftime if he doesn't have a good game. We don't know.
No, people are overstating chances of being benched.
No, that never happens.
Completely overstated. But it's more of the lack of QB options what's making him play this week. I do think it's Carr or Lance in cash games. That's a good side with the
Scrambled eggs.
Yeah. I
You don't know how to make scrambled eggs. Will you do me a favor? Actually,
Derek Carr plays.
I mean, if you wanna pass first quarterback, you can maybe look at Lamar.
Yeah, if you're spending go for a guy that can't throw, but also
I was tilting Lamar so 6 rushing
you guys
attempts.
Galaxy thinking he was a better.
Levitan just muscled up on all of us and played the chalk team, but just 1v1 Hurts over Lamar for $500 less. It feels
That's called living a little right there. You don't
That
have
is-
to use
I-
this simple.
I gotta play for you, Dan, that I think you will be into as a vomit bro, and Pete maybe. How about Matthew Stafford? 10 days rest and hearing everyone say then saying, the Rams they suck, they're cooked, yada yada. I think there will also be a little bit of they'll try and get Allen Robinson a touchdown probably if it's possible. And actually looking at
wow, we are already greasing the wheels in week 2.
But looking at the wide receiver projections, I don't really see how Cooper Kupp ends up being super owned. Actually,
They were annoying with that price.
that's
the overstepping.
That's what I'm saying though. Like it's like the pricing is a way overstep, and I mean, what the guy 31 point team total? Like how many points does he have to get?
Would he have even been chalked if they priced him around Devontae, like 1,000 less?
No, I don't think so.
That's why it's annoying.
Because we got Chase with T banged up. So Debo is going to get his customary 7 to 9% ownership. Tyreek after a bajillion targets last week. Like there are a lot of really good wide receiver plays.
I tell you what you do. You don't bother with the Stafford comeback. Play Mariota to Pitts with the cover. That's how you do it.
He
Oh,
solved
Pitts.
He solved
Pitts
it.
was the guy that was big left. C-Mac and Pitts.
The year is 2037. Kyle Pitts just came off of his 90th straight 22 expected point fantasy game. He's averaging 7.4 points on DraftKings.
The year is 2024. The Air Yards by Low model is on its ninth flight. Josh is redacting Kyle Pitts.
I don't know why that tickled me so much, but it was really good.
I was just thinking in my head about a scenario where like you had to have a token, a 5 yards token
to see the redact.
Yeah, to access the air. All right.
I'm in.
Hey, can I give a gross play on FanDuel for a cash game?
It's your MO, Dave.
All right. Because like, I mean, Lamar's 8.2, even Derek's 7 point. I think Carr is the safe option against Arizona, but maybe even safer if you want to look for some salary, and that is Geno Smith. 6.3. He's 6.3K.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna go there
that's
with
not
you.
gonna be a thing.
I think we maybe saw a one-time thing where everyone on that team was jazzed up and they had everything scripted out. Because you saw after they got off their scripted drives, I think Gino completed 4 passes in the second half. It got a lot worse.
Davis, I just want you to realize like the type of person you're turning into. That the Rams are going to look to Robinson to score a touchdown, and that the Seattle were so jazzed up that they're, it's going to be a trap game or they're going to come down to earth. Like you're turning into a normie right now.
There's a human element to the sport. It's not predictive, but you can't predict it.
I can't believe we made it here. Like, from you saying, I remember the days where we'd ask you a 1v1 and you wouldn't answer without the preface of, well, according to our projections.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm still using projections to make all of my decisions for actual money, but like when I'm just talking on a show.
All right. So Randall Cobb involved projections.
Yeah, he was like, I mean, if I would have ran with my initial Dortch projection, I would have just played him, but I had to tone that down.
Hey, Dave, real quick.
Yeah.
Some FanDuel salaries for you. You're 167. Julio Jones, 67. Allen Robinson, 67. I'm on St. Brown, 69. Brandon Cooks, 67. Leonard Fournette, 7.8. But yeah, let's
play Gino.
Let's play Gino so we can open up that.
No, if you
on a site that you can play.
Tuttle, you don't know the cash game streets on FanDuel like I do.
How about this, Kitchen? How about you pay 500 more for the team that had the highest pass rate over expected in week 1 and just play 2 wins?
I'm throwing out a
But with Gino's there, you gotta say it.
suggestions. If you need salary, like I get it, but also Taylor is 10K. Like the GM-ins, you're gonna have to save some salary somewhere. JT is 10K.
Yeah, I literally just listed.
Cooper Kupp is 9.7K. That's what I'm saying. Like the top guys that normally you can auto play, just studs, scrubs and duds. Scrubs and studs.
Kitchen's already feeling the efficiency of the pricing in week 2.
Gino's
Wait till he has two.
Wait until he has 2 touchdowns.
It's a little bit slim and does nothing the rest of the game. It gives DK Metcalf an A dot of 4.4.
I don't know what this GIF is, but I love it.
Sosa is hustling. Yeah.
I love it. Okay, it's totally redeemed for the birthday.
There you go. You got your supporting guy. Gino Michael.
Maybe just to pile on Davis, maybe he's so fueled by that week 1 win that he wants to be even greater in week 2. Alright, let's move on to the DraftKings lineup.
30 minutes into the show, we got to the DraftKings. I think we should make this a 90-minute show this week.
Pete.
I really wish I had a heart now.
Where are you putting this line?
I was just checking it out. I do think I'm going to go back to the Frito Lay's Snaps and Snacks series. We also have the 5K Anytime Challenge, a 5K Draft Time matchup presented by Miller Lite, and of course, the staple, the constant life, death, taxes, and the Modelo 5K fight to the top.
Okay, see, I thought about this last week. Here's what I think, because these series they'll change every after a month or so. But if they're sponsoring these contests, why wouldn't Snaps and Snacks by Frito-Lay? Why wouldn't Frito-Lay sponsor the sport?
Why wouldn't they?
Why wouldn't they?
Because we're 6,000 subs away from 10K. Could that be why?
Get on the train early. Get on the train early.
Hey,
Lock
Frito,
in that price.
skate to where the puck's gonna be, not where it's at.
Skate to where the puck is gonna be.
Frito-Lay, whoever all those other companies. Let's just target the companies that are sponsoring these DraftKings contests. I think we're better EV.
I won a Rainmakers pack last week on a free contest.
Nice.
Is anyone playing? Tuttle, are you playing Rainmakers at all? Our app developer tried to get me in on it yesterday. He was like, "Look, this guy made fun of me so much."
If you go buy the $10 pack
Jared?
score, you can sell it for $35 because it's limit one per customer, but all the people who are playing want the cards in the pack.
And
Yeah.
what pack is this?
I don't know the
Is
verbiage.
this financial advice?
Yeah,
That sounds
this
like
is
financial
definitely
advice. I'm all.
3.5x return.
I don't know if it was the case. I just one of these degenerate chats that they were all talking
I
about.
joined
I don't know if
Telegram
that's the
chat, and now I'm broke.
How's your bird? How's your bird?
Let's go.
The super. Dylan says it's the superstar pack. There you go.
There you go.
Find myself a superstar pack.
All right. Someone did come up to me at the DraftKings party on Sunday with there was like some beer.
The
that had
Javon Curse came up to you?
Well, he did, yes. But it was a 4 to 8. It was Mike 5754. Remember that guy? He was at this event. He came with.
I went to college with Mike.
So is he part of Davis's tree or Kitchens? Because it sounds like you guys are just.
I think he's part of Davis's tree.
I don't think he's my crew.
He might be.
What up, Slime?
He might be
You still in here?
Tree, actually.
I think that's actually accurate.
All right. Let's move on to this DraftKings lineup, and Pete, you'll get first pick.
I get first pick?
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm just going to hedge against this. I know he's going to shove it down my throat in my GPP lineup, but I always make the best lineup on Wednesday, so let's just put Leonard Fournette in now.
Pete, I really think you're gonna get to Wednesday and you're gonna play Leonard Fournette because he is gonna be.
Can you hear me, Slime? You still in here?
The least owned of the elite plays.
Okay. Fournette, let's go with Tuttle first.
Yeah, so I think we should bring this one back. With Jelon Johnson.
Oh my gosh.
It's not even. It's literally not even a bad play. It is better fine.
I don't think it's a bad play because here's the thing, and again, people that are tuning in this season that may not tune in this week, Tuttle is grinding alerts and projections for NFL hard. So
Accidentally sending out alerts on the NBA.
He ran more routes last week than Michael Thomas did.
And dare I say he's the stone man.
He is the stone man.
And it's you're also getting like a salary leverage play because people are going to be playing Brevin Jordan. Right there.
Wait, who's playing Brevin Jordan?
He's an opto bro play.
I
No,
maybe could see that, but the
Alberto.
OJ Howard are worried.
Oh my god, the idea that people other than me care about Alberto this week is like lifting my heart. It's beautiful.
like he should have got there last week, right? Like
I mean, he was an inch away from a touchdown, and he pretty much gave them a chance to win the game by fighting for that first down. Like they would have punted.
These are the tight ends above 10% in their first aggregate run. Hawkinson, Alberto, Tyler Higbee, Mark Andrews, and Kyle Pitts.
All right, all EPL.
Football.
All EPL on B Jordan.
wow. Lots of personal growth on the show. Davis, who you got?
So, could you on a Wednesday?
I tried to take your signs there yesterday, but
Can I pick a stack?
Davis, just go ahead and do it. Like you're gonna do it.
Okay, I would like to pick Tua and Jalen Waddle.
You think Waddle is the correct pairing here?
No, but consult with our friend who works on the projected ownership over at rotogrinders.com and ask him what he's got for Tyreek Hill's projected ownership.
Immediately bailed on his stack.
No, I want Waddle. I want Waddle at 3% projected ownership as leverage on a 15-20% owned Tyreek Hill.
What? Your ownership projections are terrible.
I am guessing on them. I have not made them yet.
People will not be jamming in Tyreek.
He had a bajillion targets last week.
It's just a roster. So the problem is, it's kind of a roster thing.
Yeah, okay.
Now, but then what makes this play even worse is that he's only $700.
That's the point though. Okay.
Nobody's gonna play. If you want to do, nobody's gonna play him.
Yeah, if you're gonna do live a little, just say live a little, Davis.
Well, at what projected ownership does Waddle become a better play than Tyreek? Like if Tyreek's 9%, you jam Tyreek. If Tyreek's 15%, you play Waddle, right?
Yeah, we have Tyreek in 9%.
Okay, so to change it then. Put Tyreek.
But again, it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday. It's
put Tyreek in. Put Tyreek in. If 9% is the projected ownership, put Tyreek in.
Look, people will see Baltimore. It's not gonna be a fast-paced matchup.
All right, we're off Waddle. We're playing Tyreek.
I'll let someone else pick the Baltimore player, but I will.
This does not require bring back.
Go ahead. I am going to play Greg Dortch.
Absolutely, could not be more on board with this play. I love it.
This is pandering to Davis. This is absurd.
Rondale Moore committed there, right?
If Rondale Moore plays, then you might want to sub this guy
If
out.
Rondale Moore plays, forget Greg Dortch
How many
exists.
plays does one line of need? Do we only have 30,000 in salary, guys? I mean, what's going on?
No, we're letting you spend on Cooper Kupp, dude.
Alright, so what's a different guy we can take from Greg Dortch?
No, Dortch is a good play.
But Rondale Moore is gonna play. And this is the question that you want to know. Is Greg Dortch a good play at
Yes. I don't care. I don't care. Greg Dortch is the most
I'll
locked in.
take it back. I just found a better.
Kitchen and Davis on the same thing is just also very scary.
I'll take it back. I found a better play. This is actually usually I don't lead off with this in my second pick, but I feel like this team is just a free square, and that is the Bengals defense. They're playing against the Cowboys this week.
Oh, I got in a 3-hour argument about this last night. I want everyone on the panel's opinions.
You jammed in.
No, so there's Kitchen. Let me have the floor,
Defense
please.
is always the worst play in DFS.
So it is, but Pete, are you at all? No. What happened last week is everyone knows the chalk defense is the worst. So what happened last week was the Dolphins ended up being more owned than the Commanders because everyone said, "Oh, we can't play the Commanders." You gotta play a different
Dolphins
defense.
in this, or who's the Commanders in this scenario, or the Dolphins?
It's the Dolphins. The Dolphins are 2,300, and the optimizer likes them just as much. They're projected for the same amount of points. So the Bengals are the Dolphins, and the Dolphins are the Commanders. Where the Bengals actually might end up coming.
Just play the.
No,
you don't have to.
you got the
debate
reverse.
team.
The Dolphins are the Dolphins. But I would say.
I would snap. I would snap that. Like I think in the SPY they're going to be 24% of
You just take the free square.
The Bengals.
You're playing a man down in these contexts. So
I will simply play the Cowboys defense for maximum leverage.
So does this lineup have Dortch or not?
No.
No.
Leave the chalk defense instead.
Let's see after my Bengals call how heavily owned the Bengals are.
I didn't want to talk you off Dortch, but I think this is actually like I know we don't want to provide people with valuable information and valuable commentary, but it's an interesting. It really is an interesting topic.
Fritos? Earmuffs.
Because
It becomes about what the other players do, not really what George himself does.
right, because he's the only guy on Steam right now that's probably as a point per dollar play under 4K,
Yeah.
5K, even really on DraftKings. So if he plays and Rondell's out, we are looking at probably 15-20%. So
I mean,
if you want him at that ownership percentage, I'll play.
I unironically think he is a great play, even at that percentage.
All right, let's play George so I can put the
Yeah, let's just play George.
I feel like this has actually been quite a productive show, even though we've got nothing on the rundown done. I feel like we touched on some key concepts.
The George,
Chess
we're
is
bringing
actually
back
trying
to
to move
Devontae.
toward an evergreen strategy type format. All right, we got 6,900. Put in Adams there.
Alright, Devontae.
Basically, just George and Adams just ping ponging big plays.
Yeah.
The Lord intended.
George is good, bro. I mean this so seriously.
You just like it because he's kind of part of your brand a little bit now.
Well, we also know he's just gonna get like if we knew Rondell Moore was gonna be good, but he's Rondell Moore.
He's Rondell Moore, just slow.
Yeah.
So
You guys, just don't let Davis tinker with this lineup at the last second because he'll swap in Cobb over.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
I had no confidence in myself. You really hate to see it. So, running back this week, there's the 4 jam plays of Henderson, Mixon, Barkley, Fournette, Kitchen. Who are you gonna take as our? Or I guess it's my pick, huh?
Yeah, you can choose.
You and then me.
I'll take Antonio Gibson. who
Oh, shit,
has,
someone's in my party?
Elite usage last. Ran more routes than McKissick.
Who the fuck's in here?
And it's got this great matchup, and people are going to be playing his.
Oxy?
I'm shocked at that ownership total.
Alright, sweet. I'll be right back.
Ownership, Gibson.
18.4%.
What do you want?
It seems high to me with a bunch of other guys.
I'll be right back.